Hello, this is Dave Thomas with the latest installment of the WEX saga. So this week I've got just a couple of things to show you. You remember from last time we have this sandbox which allows me to type Elixir programs and get them compiled as I type. I've added autocomplete to that. And the cool thing is that because in Elixir quite a few of the syntax elements that you'd normally have in other languages are actually functions and macros, the autocomplete works for them as well. For example, if I was to type def m and then ask for autocomplete, it's going to give me a list of all the things it knows about. I think I'll use def module, Dave, do, end. In the middle of this I could put, for example, io.p, ask for autocomplete, and I get put as automatically, or I could say something like enum.t, and again autocomplete, and let's say I want to take every, I can't remember what the parameters are for that, so quick command H brings up the help. So that's just a few things added. Also, we now have beautiful syntax highlighting, very much thanks to Alexei for that. Now, for the rest of this, I don't want to actually use this sandbox window. I'm just going to use the main sort of WEX window, I guess. So clear the screen here. The big thing I've done this week is to change the way I behave values. So let's pop over to a regular terminal window and bring up IEX. And let's look for something slightly complex. So say we'll do process.info on self. And what we get back is, well, it's actually a keyword list, but it has some nested things in there. There's like a sub list in the middle there with a dictionary. And it's kind of hard to break it all apart. Another one might be something like quote do def Fred a comma b do, oh no, a plus b and. And again, that's a lot easier to read. It's still kind of complex though, because it's hard to see where things start and stop. So let's see what we could do to change that. The way IEX works is that when it gets a value like this, it uses inspect to display it. We're going to do pretty much the same kind of thing, but what's going to happen is we're going to do it in two parts. On the server, which is running Elixir, it's going to take the value and effectively serialize it into a form that I can work with down in the browser. And that's going to do things like tag values with their types and do that recursively to construct a nice little tree structure. So then back over here in the browser, if I was to use that same thing, so I'm going to say process.info self, then what comes back is initially just a keyword list that contains 18 entries. And if I expand that out, then I can see a nice little list of the key value pairs. And if I was to hover over one of them, it'll actually give me the type. So you can see that the error handler is an entry, that's a keyword list, that's a PID, and so on. And here we have a nested dictionary, so if I expand that out, I can see my ancestors in there as well. And notice here, logger metadata, that's also a keyword list, but here, because it's worked out it'll fit on one line, rather than making an expanded drop-down thing, it just puts it in line like that. Similarly, for the list of PIDs up here, it's done the same thing. It's just basically said I can fit that across the page rather than having to go down. So that works for any value types. Let's go back and let's hide that back up here now. If we go back over here and just cut and paste to save me having to type. So here's our quoted expression. So I'm going to copy that, come back over here and paste that in. Then now you can see I have a tuple, 3 entries. It's a def. Again, notice it's actually kind of given it to me in a nice, easy to read way. The context there again is inlined. And now we have a list of a tuple and a keyword list, which is the do, the plus, the A, and the B. So that's kind of cool. Now, because we can expand things out, we can actually solve, probably one of the first questions that we see from a newcomer to Elixir on the list is, how come when I type a list of, I don't know, 65, 66, 67, I get ABC? Well, now you'll see that WEX actually shows you why. It shows you the ABC, and it also shows you the 65, 66, 67. So we could do something like enum dot into, let's say 65 dot dot 75, and we'll stick that into a list. So then what comes back is A, B, C, D, E, and there's the actual list of values. Now what happens if that list is too long to fit on a line? So let's go from 33 to 125, say. Oops, sorry. Now it's going to show me the list as the character array there, 93 characters in all, and notice we have a disclosure arrow here. So if I drop that down, then I can see the actual integers in my list. And finally, you might have noticed in this process info self that my PIDs had this little I next to them, and as I hover over them I get a question mark. That's because this is an example of a kind of drill down that I want to add across the board. So this PID, if I was to click on it, actually pops up a little PID inspector. Forgive the formatting, I'm still working on that. So here you can see I clearly have some kind of cowboy WebSocket-y kind of thing. If I have a look at the process dictionary for it, or the tree, I can see I'm linked to 3 other processes. So if I click on those links, here I have a ranch process and I have no idea process and a port. So that's kind of cool. What I would like to do eventually is to have these things automatically drill themselves into some kind of graph just to show me the relationships between them all. But for now, just popping them up is actually kind of fun and kind of useful. So that's where we got with WEX. As usual, you can check it out from GitHub, pragdave/WEX. And, any thoughts, contributions, whatever, gratefully received. Thanks a lot. See you next week.